Oh, seven citizens, Black here from CAsaBLACk Gaming, and today we have a few things to discuss in regards to roadmap changes. Now remember that I not only track the cool things that they share in their little announcement every 2 weeks, but I track all of the changes that take place on the roadmap that are not discussed, which means we can get a better overall sense of how things are going and what we can expect to actually be completed. And with Invictus right around the corner, we are starting to see some of the surprise ships that might be ready, starting to come into focus now. Before we get into this roadmap deep dive though, I wanted to first ask that if you enjoy my content and find it useful, that you please like, subscribe, and comment on this video, and also join my Discord, where me and others are there to help new players with questions, and also just to talk about our favorite ships or theories on what's coming. We'd love to have you, and so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this roadmap. So first up are the new items added to the progress tracker, which is Ship Trespass and a new mission type, Retrieve Consignment. Both of these were added to the mission feature team's assignment, so what does that tell us about a timeline? Well, the initial work for the new mission type shows that it will be done this month, but that's just the design, so I would expect maybe some more work to be done on it by engineering, if much engineering is needed. Now this is scheduled for 320, which is very likely, as many missions since last summer have been completed within a few months after they have been announced, since the missions teams are pretty efficient. As for the other new item on the tracker, the Ship Trespass feature, this is a very welcome change, and while there will be new ways for players to help control their own ships, I am looking forward to what exploits will be uncovered, as this is sure to do in ways that the devs have not yet imagined. I've already seen people mention inviting someone into their party only to kick them once they're on the ship and then killing them. Overall though, until we get ship permissions, this is a good step in the right direction, and with this scheduled for 320 with the current work showing the team's engineering to handle this by the end of June, this is pretty much a guarantee. As for the release view, the RSI links has been marked committed for 319, which is not a huge surprise. Other than the other two new items added to the roadmap for 320 that I just discussed above, the Mist Hull C is also on the roadmap for 320, and that is another ship that, while I predicted we would see it by 319 due to its work being completed back in March, they decided to push its release while they worked on some more features related to the Mist Hull C, mainly that of transporting cargo using the external cargo decks, which is something the teams worked on in April, as mentioned in the monthly report that we also received this week. The Hull C was mentioned by name as a ship that works with the external cargo loading game loop that will be in the game in a sequence of planned updates coming soon. Will we get some of the cargo updates along with the Hull C? Now, while I do not expect cargo elevators to make it into 320 due to their scheduled time being pushed out until the end of September, I do think we might see some trade and early cargo loading done in time for 320, if only to show us a taste of what's to come. Now I'm hoping we get an ISC in the next couple of months that will be leaning toward cargo, and that should clue us in on what we can expect with 320. So with almost every single roadmap update that we get, we also get some unpublicized changes that happened that the average player or content creator might not pick up on, but I literally track every single item being worked on and have done so for the past 6 months, and there were a few nudges here and there on this roadmap with a couple of bigger shifts on items that was not completely unexpected. For those hoping that the map rework might make it in before CitizenCon, I'm pretty sure we can expect those changes to either come late in the year or be a part of 4.0, which I'm beginning to lean on, as 4.0 being the update to polish up the old look of Star Citizen and realign it with the major changes to the game that jump points and server meshing into a new system will bring. It makes sense, and with the map rework being a single part of what is quite a few UI changes that are being worked on, I think the trend we're seeing is that they are still fine-tuning things for Squadron, and we will most likely see these changes teased again at CitizenCon, and I expect them to hopefully go into more detail about the UI being part of that huge 4.0 update. Regardless, all of this is to say that the AR map rework, which had not been touched since March, had some work done on it by the UI tech team in April, and that work ended this week. More might be added, so this is not a finished feature yet, as we will see some of its UI cousins on the roadmap here as well that have been changed. Alright, moving on to asteroid facilities. They had been scheduled for the end of June to have its work completed, but more time was added and it's now being pushed out until mid-September, with the EU sandbox team being the team scheduled for more work. No idea on how this is progressing, and until we see something on ISC, I doubt it will be ready by then. Again, this could be a feature we see shown off at CitizenCon, with hopefully something for us to get our hands on soon after, as it will be a nice place to go for more mission types and one that is not just bound to a single system. The Entities Property plugin is a tool the editor team has been working on. That work initially ended in March, but more work has now been added. I am not sure if this is a tool that has been given to some of the dev teams yet and they needed to make some updates to it, or if it has not yet been released and is still having work done. It's more of a streamlining tool to help multiple teams, so hopefully it's completed the second week of July as its new date shows. The Greycat Industrial Salvage tool had time added back to the roadmap and shows the second week of June as the new completion time. Now this work being done is by the Squadron 42 team, so not sure if this will help it get to the PU any faster or what our timeline is, so this is just a sit back and watch type of thing. But a larger salvaging tool would be nice, but might not come until we get more cutting or bigger chunks of salvage, or this tool could end up helping us take off larger components, so we'll have to watch it and see. Another tool that has been worked on and had its work come back is the Hex tool. Its work originally ended at the end of March and is now back on the roadmap and shows work until the first week of July by the Live Tools team. Another UI huge feature we are waiting on is the map and radar system rework, and its time, which showed ending at the end of April, has now been pushed out again to the first week of July, with the Squadron 42 main feature team being the ones working on it. Again, until their work is done, we cannot expect it in the PU, so once again, I think it's part of my 4.0 theory as to when we will see it. I honestly do not expect to see much more than a glimpse, if that's even on the Inside Star Citizen, and it will most likely be saved for CitizenCon. The Mop and Bucket had more work done on it in April, as mentioned in the monthly report, and now shows the work ending in early May. Now, I just had to mention this so I would have another excuse to use this lovely, awesome graphic that I created a few months back. Enjoy. Moving on to new interdiction scenarios, this feature has been in the works for months and will bring variety to when we get interdicted. Now, I did see on the monthly report that they have been experimenting with introducing all ship types into scenarios, but not sure if that will coincide with this, but it should, as we can literally run into anyone while out in the verse. I mean, could you imagine being, gotten by a vulture? Anyway, this work was scheduled to be concluded at the end of June, and it has now been pushed back to mid-September. New missions, salvage contracts had been accidentally left off the last roadmap, but was added back and showing a finish time at the end of June as it was, so it's nice to see it back and that it was not removed due to a valid reason, but by accident. The Outpost Homestead Independent and Outlaw feature, which is a mouthful, was pushed back from ending in June until mid-September. Now, I'm intrigued by this one and so was let down when it was pushed back, as it will be a place we might see normal or normie NPCs for you Wednesday fans sheltering and possibly offering up service for players. Not much is known about what this will entail, whether it's NPCs that can give missions or buy and sell items or what have you, but this would also lead to advancements in player homesteads later on, so hopefully we get to see this soon. Persistent streaming and server meshing moved out from mid-June to mid-July. I've been expecting this to get moved out all the way to September for months now, but it's still hanging on for work to be completed this summer by the game service team, so we should fully expect more teams to be assigned to it, which should also push it back to September or later. And as we know, server meshing is not near completed yet, I think this is something we should fully expect. Just keeping you guys up to date on its current progress. Okay, so seated item handling, which is where passengers that are seated will be able to use items while riding on a vehicle, was moved up a week to be completed the first week of May, so pretty much now. Does that mean this is almost ready and we might see it for 320? Guess we'll be on the lookout for more hints that this is coming. Swimming Tier 0 was slightly moved forward from the end of June to mid-June, so maybe with 320 we will also be able to take a dip in the cool waters on Microtep, or you could go garbage diving in Hurston's new rivers. So with unannounced vehicles, we have 3 vehicles that have been on the roadmap for months and their work is coming to an end in May, just in time for Invictus. The first one's work began last August and we can see audio work finishing up over the next couple of weeks, meaning it should be flyable. Now due to its short development time, my guess is a new small ship or a small or medium variant. We have clues from leaks about a Mystic Fury and a variant of that, so both of those could be bundled into one. And with the next 2 ship updates only showing work by the vehicle concept team, that could very well be what's happening here, that we're just going to see concepts. But I've heard there could be another new flyable besides the Mystic Fury and its variant introduced, but the roadmap does not support this theory, so is the roadmap misleading on purpose? Guess we'll see after Invictus to see if something that is not on the roadmap pops up and is ready to fly. Alright, and that's going to do it for this roadmap deep dive. There was nothing too earth-shattering here. There were a couple of features pushed off a little, but nothing that really feels like a gut punch. I think at this point in the year, we're all just hoping for some stability and to get to enjoy the features that were introduced with 3.18 and soon 3.19, which, by the way, I am happy to say that my predictions about 3.19 being forced in before Invictus were absolutely correct, even if I didn't have all the right features. I had quite a few earlier this year tell me I was crazy for suggesting there would be a 3.19, much less that it would be out before Invictus. And while 3.19 is lacking in having a ton of new features, and some might claim it is just 3.18.3, I still stand by my prediction. And so my next set of predictions, whether right or wrong, will be given after Invictus, where I'll share my thoughts on 3.20 and what we can possibly expect. These guesses are a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy getting those theorizing juices flowing along with me. Anyway, remember to be kind to your fellow gamer, realize that even small features can lead to huge gameplay opportunities, and stay positive citizens.